All right, welcome to the first video of 11.2. So in this section, you're going to be learning about populations and samples and some of the hypotheses that we can come up based on some collections of data from those different groups of people or things. So this section has a lot of new vocabulary in there. And as we go through some of these examples, we're going to be introducing new vocabulary to you that's related to each example. So in this first problem here, you're going to be asked to identify both the population and the sample from the question, and then also describe the sample. So you have to make sure that not only are you identifying each, you also need to give a thorough description of why. So explain your reasoning for that. So before we go over these questions, let's go ahead and look at the definitions of these. So a population is a collection of data such as responses to a survey, measurements of some different items or results or counts that you want information about. So basically information about the data, okay? It could be responses to a poll, measuring some different items, or the total number of items or things in a group. A sample is a subset of that population. So sometimes it's not possible to take data on all of the people in a population or all of the items in a group. So sometimes you use a sample to collect data. So you take data from a subset and then apply those results to an entire population. So let's go look at our examples right here. And we're going to get an explanation as to why these are populations or samples. So here's the first one. In the United States, a survey of 2,184 adults aged 18 and over found that 1,328 of them own at least one pet. Okay, so let's see why, what part of those are populations and samples, and also a reasoning why. So in this example here, you see that there's a little diagram that's written out for this. And a lot of times that helps determine which one is the population and which one's the sample, because the sample is a subset of the population, so the sample would fall within the population group. So here, the population consists of the results or the responses of all adults aged 18 and over in the United States, and the sample consists of the responses of the 2,184 adults in the survey. Okay, so the population is the responses of all adults, and the sample are the responses of the 2,184 adults in the survey. Now, you can see here, if we write our population as the responses of all adults, our sample is this subset of the responses of all adults. Now, within this sample, out of these 2,184 responses, you can see this is made up of the 1,328 adults who said they own one pet, as well as 856 adults who said they don't own any pet. Okay, so all the people that responded, all adults aged over 18, would be the population, and just the 2,184 responses would be the subset. And again, within that subset are the people that own pets and do not. So remember, the population, if we go back here, the population is the data of the entire group, or the collection of data that we want information about. So we want information about all adults, and the responses that we received would be the subset. In the next one, we want to estimate the gas mileage of all new cars sold in the US. So to do that, a consumer advocacy group tested 845 new cars and found they have an average of 25.1 miles per gallon. So in this one, remember, our population is going to be the group we want information about. In this case, we want information about all new cars sold. Okay, that's going to be our population, all new cars sold. To do that, we have to run tests on 845 new cars. So the 845 new cars are a subset of all new cars. So if we drew a diagram here, the population is going to be all new cars sold in the US, and our sample is that subset of 845 that we actually tested. Okay, now you have a little explanation here, but it's basically what I told you. Population is what we want information about, so all new cars sold in the US, and the sample is the subset of 845 new cars that were tested. This is, again, pretty basic. It's a lot of common sense in here. So what I want you to do, here are two new scenarios, and I want you to go through and identify the population and the sample, and I want you to describe the sample. Okay, tell me why it's a subset. So explain your reasoning for the population and sample that you chose. Make sure, okay, I don't want your response to just be population and sample. I want to know why. I want a description of the sample and the population. If you need to see an example of a description, look at this sample example that we did right here. Look at the description and the thoroughness of these results. Yours should be similar to that. So go ahead and enter your answers in the text box now.